Dallas's win changes the NFC playoff picture just a little bit. The Cowboys still have that 4 seed after the win, but the Saints drop from that top spot all the way down to the number 2 spot. So really not that much of a difference. But it is in the long run for the Saints because I for sure thought that they were going to win that game.
Me too.
This was a huge surprise. That defense really showed up.
It was.
What did you think? What was your biggest takeaway from that game?
Man, my biggest takeaway was I saw 2 defenses on display that can carry their offenses and can carry the team for the rest of the season. The Dallas Cowboys held Drew Brees 127 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and 2 sacks, and basically shut down the run game. On the other side of the ball, the Saints had 7 sacks, created 3 fumbles, got 2,
Cam Jordan.
and held the best running back to just 76 yards rushing. So the future is bright for both these teams going down the stretch for the rest of these last 4 games. And I saw 2 defenses, man, they look good. I mean, they look really good. I was not expecting the Dallas Cowboys defense to be that good. We talked about it Thursday night. We asked the question, does the foundation of this team run through the defense? And at the time, I said, no, it ran through Zeke and the rush and the rushing the offense. But Leighton Vander Esch, Jalen Smith, I mean, those guys made a huge statement. This was a statement game for them. And also for the secondary as well, because they played really well as well. And so just, man, I was just very impressed by both these defenses. Leighton
Vander Esch and Jalen Smith, these 2 guys were considered risks coming into the draft, really coming out of college.
Jalen Smith much more because of his injury.
Right, but, I mean, they looked awesome out there together.
Let me tell you something. Defensively, I watched this tape twice already. Defensively, the Dallas Cowboys are playing with some swag, man. The swag is actually forcing them to play better than I think they are. I mean, really. And I think Chris Richard being there, who was with me in Seattle, who literally, people don't know, he was instrumental in building the Legion of Boom and the back end of that Seattle Seahawks defense. Every single play was contested. Every pass play you saw 9 or 10 Dallas Cowboys in the frame. Every single
like old
play.
Seattle, right?
It looked like the old Seattle team.
He gets the best out of Byron Jones too.
The best because Byron's in the best position to make plays. I mean, it just seems like that this team is playing with a lot of confidence right now, and it's being led by the secondary and it's being led by this defense. And I think Chris Richard is the #1 reason why they're playing with all this swag.
He's setting himself up to be a head coaching candidate, what should be likely to be a shallow pool of candidates heading forward. My biggest takeaway, I looked at it kind of all on the defensive thing is, you know, we looked at that 54-51 Monday Night Football game and said, okay, this is the year of the offense. Well, on a given day, in a given atmosphere, because I think this game might have played out differently in the Superdome. That's a different story. But in the right atmosphere, on the right day, maybe a defense can win a football game this year. And this is the hope in Dallas. And this is the hope. I'm thinking more in January, though. You know, things tend to be a little bit different in January. But the Chicago Bears, that's a team that's playing good defense. So before we sit there and say, okay, Kansas City, the Rams, and the Saints, those are the teams we're looking at to go to the Super Bowl. Let's see what happens on a given day if defensively things click.
You know what? People say, you know, defense wins championships, and I think it still does. And to your point, I wouldn't necessarily say defense this particular year, but aggressiveness, right? Whether it's aggressiveness offensively, taking shots down the field on first down, being in the shotgun on the goal line, or whether it's aggressiveness in the defense in the way that every single play is contested. I mean, when you look at how the Dallas Cowboys defense played last night, it actually gave energy to the offensive line of the Dallas Cowboys. Complimentary football, and it led to a very efficient game from Dak Prescott. 24 for 28, 250 yards and 1 touchdown.
There were some times where Dak was holding on to the football too long, right?
Yeah.
And there was a couple of times where he didn't handle the blitz well, right? And so for me, if the Cowboys want to be successful in the postseason, Dak has to be better. He can't be holding on to that football. He was careless with the ball, almost cost him the game. Had Drew Brees not thrown an interception, because I was on the sideline, and when they got that ball back, I was talking to Greg Bensel, who's worked for the Saints for a long time. First thing I said is, Drew's about to go to work. He's about to go to work, and he's about to do something special, and the Saints are going to end up winning this game. Now, it didn't play out that way, but Dak has to be so much better, man, because he was very careless with that football.
But Drew Brees, he was affected too in this game because he wasn't able to take as many shots downfield because of that offensive line, because of missing Teron Armstead and what DeMarcus Lawrence was able to do. I mean, look, this offensive line for the Saints had been so good all year. They'd only given up 10 sacks.
Some people.
But yeah, that pass rush in Dallas is no
I'll add one more
joke.
just to bring it back to the linebacker. Sean Lee is expected to come back, and the plan, I'm told, is to get him on the field, which is going to take snaps away from either Leighton.
Who do you take off the field?
You ain't taking Leighton Vander Esch off that field. That's all I know.
The plan is to get Sean Lee on the field. Maybe you take Jalen Smith and some passing downs off the field, possibly. But some of those guys are going to lose snaps because of Sean Lee come back.
I guess it's a good problem to have.
It is a good problem.